commemorating war crimes in Bosnia. Here the mothers of Srebrenica, and another issue that has been really big is sort of the sites of commemoration and memories, but also projects such as Documenta's Oral History Project. And if anyone has questions, we have Daria here who worked on the project extensively. And those are all great efforts in order to cope and deal with the past in different ways. And as I said, one of them was also the ReCom initiative that Katarina was talking about. And during my years of field work in the Balkans, I realized that there's a missing link in this picture, that youth, everyone was talking in a news, or when you talk in the streets, a coffee shop with youth, you realize, oh, they're apathetic, they don't really care, they all want to travel or want to get good jobs and money. But there's also a very strong movement of activists that actually do care about the future. And so I found this very compelling, and after I was done with my dissertation, I said, no, I really need to dig a little deeper here and see what the story behind this is. And I feel like this fits into the broader transitional justice literature, and that's why I want to briefly touch upon what Refik said about the really conundrum in transitional justice. I feel the first literature dealt with democratizations, with transitions in general. We have Schmider, O'Donnell, Huntington. They all talked about this with a view of institutionalization. And then the second wave was sort of Rudy Tittel and Victor Peskin, who had a very legalist and IR perspective on these issues. And I'm humble self here, feel like I'm part of a movement that I call critical transitional justice. Kath Collins and others have called it post-transitional justice analysis, where we take a step back from sort of the different either restorative or retributive justice perspective and look at the actors, separate them, and see what sort of power mechanisms are at work in this whole structure. And that's why I finally ended up trying to analyze youth now, because it's such an important key vector that has not been talked about in a scholarly debate. Generally, when we talk about youth, it's how have they been traumatized and how can they be reintegrated into society. And we have that with child soldiers in Africa, but the only time when we talk about the Balkans and youth is when we talk about the Otpor movement, the movement that toppled actually Slobodan Milosevic. But the research on this is also more focused on democratic structures and how we can deal with regime change or the emergence of the movement, but not what a movement is actively doing to talk about an historic dialogue and to talk about mass atrocities. And so in this regard, I basically have two questions.